Hey guys, so I've always believed that Raspbian OS is a solid operating system for the Raspberry Pi. But recently, I went bonkers as I was looking through Ubuntu's website and found out how quickly you can install various versions of Ubuntu on the Raspberry Pi. So in this video, we're going to go over the process of installing Ubuntu Core, which is very similar to how Raspberry Pi OS Lite works. It's super small, and the best part about putting this on your Raspberry Pi, it just works. So let's get started by first downloading the Raspberry Pi imager for your Mac or Windows. If you're running a Mac, just open the DMG file once it's downloaded, and then drag the imager to your applications folder to get it installed. For Windows users, just run the imager installer and click install. After the installation, you will want to insert your micro SD card into your computer. In most cases, you're going to have a micro SD card adapter that uses USB. Once you plug it in, just make sure that your computer recognizes it. So for Mac users, you'll probably notice it show up in your locations. And for Windows users, you'll see an autoplay notification or have it show up in devices and drives. Now we're going to open up the Raspberry Pi imager. The first thing we'll do is click Choose OS. Ignore the Raspberry Pi OS options and look for Other General Purpose OS. Once you click that, you'll find an option for Ubuntu. Let's go into that. And at this point, you're going to want to find a version for Ubuntu Core that works best for your Raspberry Pi. And if you're confused about whether you need to choose 32-bit or 64-bit, here's a quick hint. Run the arc command on your Raspberry Pi. Then take a look at this table. If your output reads ARM64 or AARC64, you can go with 64-bit. But otherwise, all other options would mean you'll want to stick with 32-bit. After that, we need to tell the imager to use our micro SD card. So click on Choose Storage and select most likely the only option that's there, which is your micro SD card. Once you're all set with your options, click Next and then confirm Yes to wipe the data that's on that SD card. Now just let the imager tool do the flashing. You'll notice as soon as it's done writing, it's going to automatically verify it. In most cases, you do want to let it finish because otherwise you have no guarantee that it actually worked. Once the flashing completes, the Raspberry Pi imager is usually really good about automatically ejecting your SD card. This means it's now safe to close the imager tool and then remove the micro SD card from your Mac or PC. Now let's insert the SD card into our Raspberry Pi and then turn it on. Don't be surprised if you see a cursor that keeps blinking for a few minutes, because after a while, you'll notice that Ubuntu Core is finally instantiating itself by doing things and then rebooting. This is completely normal, so try not to remove the SD card or unplug your Raspberry Pi's power cable. And believe it or not, but if you see something like this where it's asking you to press enter to configure, congratulations, because it worked. However, if you happen to see that your Raspberry Pi is stuck in some sort of a boot loop, or you're simply seeing a rainbow screen for a long time, this can mean one of two things. For starters, it could be a simple mistake like selecting a 64-bit version of Ubuntu Core, but your Raspberry Pi is 32-bit. Or you could just have a micro SD card that didn't get written to successfully when flashing. So in this case, you could try flashing it again using the Raspberry Pi imager, but if it doesn't work after that, consider trying a different card because it could be corrupt. But if this worked for you, amazing. So in the next video, we'll continue exactly where we left off when Ubuntu Core boots up for the first time. And I'll be showing you how to set up a network connection, including a static IP, as well as how to get past that pesky Ubuntu profile setup. Thanks for watching. And for more on Ubuntu Core for the Raspberry Pi, please consider subscribing to this channel.